Antoine Chartier immigrated to New York from Chambly, Canada, a town 16 miles to the southeast of Montreal. His wife, Mary Lamore, was a native of Redford, New York. Their son Oliver, or Captain as he was later known, and his wife Mary parented 13 children, one of whom died shortly after birth. Herbert Charles was the 10th Carter child. He was born on July 28, 1911. Herb spent his early years working in his father's general store that was located in the front yard of the Carter home. Herb was an athletic young man. He played for the Saranac baseball team before being drafted into the United States Army in April of 1942. He trained at Fort Bragg in North Carolina and later in Boston, Massachusetts, before being shipped overseas. Herb served as a French interpreter for the Army. He was first stationed in England. Herb recounts his journey on the Queen Mary in a letter to his sister Clara.
Just a year ago today, only it was on the 19th, I got on board the Queen Mary for my first sea voyage. We sailed 2 days later. It was pleasant enough considering I did not get seasick. I'll not mind if I do get a little seasick on the return trip.
Herb also spent time in Belgium, where his company stayed in a building owned by the proprietor of a local brewery for 3 weeks, much to the enjoyment of Herb. Even the war could not prevent Herb from thinking about being back again with their family in Saranac.
And also, remember that we expect you to be in good health for our return, so that you will be in there helping us to celebrate a real good old-fashioned reunion. I'll really have a lot of catching up to do when I get back, such as having to get acquainted with some of my new nieces. Good thing all the Carters haven't shirked their duty like I have, huh?
In November of 1945, Herb returned from the war and took over the family store. The original store in the front yard of the Carter home burnt to the ground in the late 1930s. The store was relocated in the downstairs of the Carter home for a short time as the new store was built near the Saranac School. Carter's store sold everything one would need in the town of Saranac. You could fill up with Texaco gas, buy your paint, dish detergent, peanut butter, ketchup, sugar, and of course, your favorite beer. Herb sold Gibson appliances in the store. Gibson made refrigerators and claimed to be the first to put a light inside of one. His sales of the early electric refrigerators earned him trips to Nassau and Hawaii. Herb also delivered groceries to families around the area. On a trip to Cadyville, he met Bernadette Hart. Bernie was born in Niagara Falls, New York. Herb and Bernie were married in Milford on June 3, 1946, in St. Gabriel's Church. When they returned to Saranac to start their family, they had a big family dinner at the Carter house. On July 12, 1947, a torrential 2-hour rainstorm devastated a 4-mile section of the town of Saranac. The flood claimed the lives of 3 people. The small brook behind the Carter home swelled to a roaring rapid. The water came up to the door of the house. The same brook flowed right next to the Carter store and flooded the basement. Fortunately, there was no structural damage, and both buildings were spared. The town spent nearly $500,000 to repair 50 miles of roads damaged by the flood. Herb and Bernie raised 6 children, all while running the busy Carter store. Herb, showing his true entrepreneurial spirit, also sold Hudson cars. He sold the big Detroit-made automobiles to every sibling in the Carter family. Herbert also tried his hand in manufacturing an all-natural cough syrup through a Canadian franchise. Remare Laboratories, run by René Marais, licensed Herb to concoct the brew on his stovetop. The mixture, Dr. Ledoux's Canadian cough syrup, was sold to relieve coughs, colds, smoker's coughs, hoarseness, bronchial irritation, gripes, and all after effects due to colds. But in the end, the Canadian cough syrup was not approved by the FDA. Herb was busy with the store and his side businesses, but first and foremost, Herb was a family man. The Carter children, cousins, and friends filled the home with energy. Birthday parties, graduations, holidays, and landscaping. Herb and Bernie hosted many spirited parties. On New Year's Eve, the Carter house was the Times Square of Saranac. The adults had their run of downstairs as the kids would stay up late and drink soda in the upstairs of the house. On Sundays, Herb would close the store at noon, and the family would go to his sister Elsie's camp up on Shazy Lake. In July of 1966, Herb was diagnosed with an extremely rare form of cancer of the uterus. He died in the early morning hour of June 27, 1967, just 1 month before his 56th birthday. His legacy lives on with his family. His 6 children gave him 17 grandchildren and 4 step-grandchildren. Those grandchildren
have done their duty,
as Herb would say, in giving him 10 great-grandchildren and counting. Herb and the entire Carter family has instilled a deep sense of family that lasts until this day. He left his family and friends with fond memories of a very respected and well-loved man.